Welcome back to the Gymnazo podcast. I am your co-host today, Michael Hughes, along with my other co-host,
CJ Kobliska.
And we are talking about the good old things that keep people at your party. I like throwing a lot of parties. I think CJ and I probably throw several parties per day in our facility. And what's the one thing that keeps people coming back to your party? We're basically client retention is the phrase, is the term that we're going to be speaking on today. And we're hoping for a lot of tangents. I think we had a little pre-meeting about this stuff, and so we're going to dive into this one. Client retention is a big thing as a training and conditioning focus. You know, we all want to help people as much as possible, but we know it takes time, and I don't know it takes energy, effort, and the biggest thing that people need to do is show up. They got to show up, and we're their guide, and we should be there for them, right? And that's kind of the whole thing. Do they have to work out at a facility? No. But it's certainly a focus spot. Does people have to learn out of school? No, but the facility is a huge avenue for growth. So we're going to be diving into that today, and I can't wait to talk about this because it's something I think we do very well, or at least we have a lot of strategies on. So we're going to be diving into those things. So let's get ready to dive into this, and I'll say dive in for the last time for this podcast. All right, CJ, first and foremost, what draw your attention to training and conditioning? Like to a certain facility? Let's talk with a certain brand.
Geez. I mean, it comes from the sensations. That's what I pay attention to most it is all energy, right? Everything is energy. I'm energy, you're energy. The energy of the room, the energy of the people that you're around, the energy of the equipment, the colors, the music. There's a lot of sensory experience that goes into deciding where I want to perform, I want to work out, and who I want to work out with. So I think number one is, are people actually enjoying where they are? If I'm somewhere where some people are not enjoying themselves, they're complaining, they're pissed off, they're not wanting to communicate to other people, like that turns me off. It turns me away. I might enjoy a workout by myself there, but I may not stick around. But if I see people smiling, enjoying themselves, holding each other accountable, and there's a community that's developed, whether it's a specific class, a type of class, a time of day, you name it, there's an energy and a force to, I think, every single one of those sessions. And when I work out, I want to work out someplace fun. I want to enjoy myself, and I want to be somewhere where I can communicate to other people, and it doesn't have to be verbal. It can be nonverbal. You can walk into a room and know if you want to be there or if you don't want to be there.
Yeah, that's you said the word fun twice. I've been paying attention to the words, and we did a survey of all of our members of what brings you back to Gymnazo. We asked this question, and we're like, oh man, they're going to do the biomechanical complexity of it all, 3D movement, they're just so smart. They figure out my aches and pains. I was really excited about this answer, and I read the report. The number one word was fun.
What makes something fun? I mean, I know it's fun to me, but I also don't know a lot of things that are fun to me until I do it. I'm like, wow, that was a really good time.
Yeah.
Are you the same way when you go to work out or you find a facility that resonates with you, whether in the past or even here at Gymnazo? What do you sense? What do you see?
Well, that's the most thing. I was disappointed by the answer, but then I was completely giving me one more millisecond to think about it. It's like, oh, that's the best answer possible. Because you do things that are fun. That's what it comes down to. If it's not fun, you do it because it's like a discipline of your life that just must make something else fun. But it comes down to it, fun. I mean, so I've been to a lot of different facilities. Whenever I travel out of town, I try to go to a new facility, whether that's a franchise or just a local mom and pop, quote unquote, shop there. And I look at the quality of the facility. Do I feel, I don't know, this is me just being my neat freak. Do I feel clean? Do I feel like it's a spot that welcomes me to lay on the floor, and that kind of thing? Oh, and also, is it fun, or was it just hum-ho, all right, here's your drills? So those are my two things.
Cleanliness and fun.
Honestly. Yeah, really. Organizational cleanliness is one of those things too,
Well, yeah, it's like you go into somebody's house and it's a mess, and you feel like you can't do anything but think about cleaning something up, or like, oh my gosh, this is so dirty, this place is a mess. I don't really feel comfortable like sitting on the couch or like in the kitchen, or, our houses get dirty, but there's something you're just like, I don't even know if I want to take a full breath in or out. This is just stinky.
It's really I talk about, we throw parties. We do, and it's a party. So how do you throw a party? Well, to me, you clean twice. You clean before, and you clean afterwards. That's how I think about parties. You got to make sure you're dialed in, ready to go. I don't want to get stuck on cleanliness, and then all of that. Once the environment's set, then hopefully you allow the guest to enjoy the festivities that you have planned or don't have planned.
I mean, the best parties, I think, are just you showing up and everything's there available. Like, you don't have to search for anything. You don't got to find anything. Think about, you see the people that you know. You go into a party like, I recognize some people. Like, you're going to gravitate towards them, and you're already going to have a better time because you have your people. You walk into a place where you don't know anybody. Now the environment's not fully set. If you're the host of that party, how do you welcome these guests that you invited? You've got maybe a couple different friend groups, but this person's not in any one of these friend groups or cliques. How do you bring them in and make them feel like, wow, this is just a great time, and I feel super comfortable. I feel like I can trust these people, like I can open up to them. And I think that goes hand in hand with a training facility and with client retention, is that you've got to make your guests feel welcome. You've got to set the stage for them to feel like, I want to come back here. I feel welcomed. I feel supported. I'm going to hold myself accountable because I had a great time. I will show back up. Yeah.
The click. It is so important that when you walk into a party, you do the whole scan, and you're just like, who do I know? Who do I know? Who do I know? You find that one person, you immediately walk there. Or the host meets you there, is anticipating your arrival, and they show you someone.
You catch them right when they're just getting that little anxiety, that little bit of I think I'm going to just head out, or I'm going to go straight to the bathroom, or I'm going to hide for a bit and wait, or text, or go to my phone, right? I think we all have these tendencies. What do you do when you go to a party?
First thing I want to do is I want to put something in my hand.
Ooh.
It's like the whole 90-degree elbow position, right? I've noticed so many people. I purposely try not to do that now because everyone holds their drink at a 90-degree angle. Someone just let it hang at a 180-degree angle. Just see what happens. I want something to do. So either you go to the food, you go to the drink, right? Hopefully you meet someone there, you talk to someone there. Then once you're kind of sipping on something, chewing on something, you turn around and I scan the environment. If I don't know anybody yet, truly. And then from there, you just got to make the leap. If you don't know anybody, you got to make the leap. You got to go walk up, or you kind of have to kind of snuggle up next to a conversation, and hopefully you can catch the wave. Gosh, it really kind of takes me back to a long time ago, where I went to parties but didn't know anybody, kind of college. Like, you walk in, like, all right, where's my friends at? You have to know somebody just a little bit. I guess that's the case. You just find somebody you know just a little bit, and you just give them a little elbow or a little nudge. Not really, hey, what's up?
Well, and hopefully the guests there too also recognize that you don't know somebody, and they're like, hey, come on over, right?
I know,
just
but
that friendliness.
I've been to parties that, like, literally you're just like, oh, someone else is here. I hope they figure it out. Obviously, all this ties into walking into a facility. All this ties into having your niche, your clique, right? And cliques are a good thing. At least I think, is because you want to walk in and want to know somebody. So I like how we do it. There's a G1 click, a G2 click, a G3 click, a semi-private click, and we also have a host always there. Well, that's not true. Not always there, but most of the time. We have a front desk staff designated. There's not many boutique gyms that have a front desk staff designated to be there, for a set amount of time. And if not, we've always CJ runs the coach training aspect of Gymnazo. I've done it in the past, so we both have a great perspective on what happens here. But the coach is there waiting, literally waiting for someone to walk in.
Well, you got your guest list.
You got your guest list. You got the names, and there's so many things that we could dive into on this one. But and then I almost brought the book. I almost brought like the almanac of how to, anyways. Greet people, but saying someone's name. Like, when you walk into the party, I've done it before. I've been to a party and literally someone said, Hughes! I'm like, this is going to be a good party.
Yeah, I'm here to party.
Like right when I walked into the front door,
Right.
and then of course, other guests looked too. Like, who's this person yelling from across the room? I'm like, it just makes you feel like $1 million.
Oh, man.
$1 million.
Yeah, so I do think it is a lot to do with the people that bring the energy. And if you are the person who's, that encourager or that extroverted personality going into a party, it's not really a big deal because you're going to go reach out. You're gonna make yourself known. But if you're maybe a little bit more introverted or you feel a little bit more uncomfortable with the people that you're around, you're going to be a little bit more held back. And that's the opportunity where you can either gain a client or lose a client. And it's recognizing not just if they're extrovert or introvert, but really their kind of personality. How do they come in? Do they come in a little more standoffish? Like, hey, I don't really know a lot of people here. I'm kind of quiet. But they may be extremely out loud and fun and outgoing once they recognize their people, once they're confident with their people.
Yeah.
And so I think it does start with you got to have a greeting staff, you got to have a coaching staff, you got to have somebody there to welcome somebody in and to show them where to go, right? If you have at least this path, or you now know coming in the next time what to expect. Now you can kind of set yourself up for more success, whether it's I'm going to have my space or I'm going to make sure I'm around people that are fun and loud so that I can kind of catch that wave or that vibe. You gotta kind of know your space, know your spot.
Yeah, and the intention of the setup. Like when you walk in, do you want the dance floor? Do you want to be walking onto the dance floor? Because then you got to cross the dance floor. How do you not dance across the dance floor? So you're awkward. You're interrupting people. Like, no. You want to walk into like an entryway, and then go from there. And that's why we have G1 in front, not G3 in front, because you want that person to walk in and be like, oh, all right, it's low key, easy going. Versus in the distance, someone's slamming down some weights.
Well, it could be something super complex and just like,
right.
I if you walk in and think, oh, I can't do that, and that's the first thing you see. Is it the environment set up? Is it what's just going on that day? I mean, you got to be able to set up this environment to where somebody comes in and says, I can do that.
Right.
I could probably even do that better.
That's the key. That's the key. It really is. We want someone to go into G1 and be like, I crushed that. Good. Tried level 2. Versus I got crushed. I don't think I'm coming back. Too much for me.
Yeah. I mean, and it starts with the conversation too. I think when you come into a G1 class or a level 1 class or an intro level class to any fitness facility, any type of training, it's got to be inviting, but you've also got to know who you're working with. I think number one thing that goes into client retention once you've established your environment and you've now began your conversation is who is this person? And who is this person in this community? Who's this person in this group? Who's this person? Who do they think they are? And I mean that in the most positive way. Like, I want to know who this person is. I want our coaches to become very familiar with, I can set you up on a path that's going to feel so personalized in a group setting that you're going to want to come back because you got more value than what you thought you were going to get. If you got the cleanliness, if you got the energy, you got the vibe, and now you've got some rapport built, some trust, now it's just a matter of continuing to grow that relationship. And it could be in a more personal level of getting to know them, their family, and kind of themselves in the community. Or it could be something more kind of on the outside of that, just like, hey, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What kind of pains or discomforts have you had? What are these things I should know about you as a coach so that I can help you become more successful? And I think the way we word those things can have so much power. It really is that first interaction, right? And you said it. When I was going through the internship, it's like you've already got their name, so that's number one. Now, where does this relationship go? How does it blossom? And it is through just continual learning about the individual. Yeah. Ask them questions.
Yeah, people want to talk about themselves. That's a good thing, right? So you go as a coach, hey, welcome. And this is something I really want to give to anyone listening. Welcome everybody by name whenever possible. It's impossible. No, it's not always possible. And say goodbye by name whenever possible. They walk in the door, you greet them by name. They are leaving across the threshold of the door. You may be halfway across the facility. Yell it. There are some speculations on that one, but that's what I would recommend. And then you start asking them questions, how they hear about the place, what's going on with them, anything I should know about their, ankles, knees, hips, right? Anything. You just start asking about themselves. What do you do if it's a day job? Like, you need 30 seconds of communication. That's it. just to kind of let them like, okay, all right, at least I know this guy. I've done that with people who I'm not even the coach with. Great, let me go introduce you to your coach now, right? I've kind of seen like, oh, what, you're not the coach? It's like, no, just saying hi. Just was walking out of the bathroom.
Didn't recognize you? Yeah. Or, hey, I do recognize you. What's up?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's really just making someone feel super comfortable. Working out is uncomfortable. Someone who walks into a facility wanting to change their physicality because of a mental, soulful drive, that's uncomfortable. They had to have some guts to change their clothes, change their schedule, drive somewhere different, get out of their car, walk to the front door, get in, and feel uncomfortable. That's a special type of person. It really is.
That's a motivated individual.
Exactly.
They come in motivated.
Right. And do you remember how many stories that we would get from just the back on, if someone just sat in their car? I've heard of members who literally drove here, sat in their car, and didn't come in. They didn't tell us until later. Like
Right.
I did it twice. Once I learned about that, it's cool. You kind of realize like how many other people have done that, who just didn't show up on your schedule. Like, they just didn't show up. I wonder, they could have been in the parking lot. And I don't say that as a laughter. I say that as like, it's a serious issue. Like this is something that, it takes a lot to walk into a facility.
Well, it's intimidating to come into somewhere, especially where maybe it's a little bit more intentional and biomechanically sound in terms of programming. It's got some other complexities to it, and you've heard other things about it, but you don't. And this goes again for any type of training. You walk in and don't know the practice. You walk in and don't have an idea about martial arts, and you go into somewhere that does martial. You're like, wait, there's a whole process before I can even get started on the mat. Like I gotta bow to the mat? It's like you honor your space, and it can be intimidating walking in somewhere even that is very welcoming. Sometimes that's the intimidation factor because they're ready for me, but I'm not. I haven't made that statement yet for myself. Like I'm here.
It's really interesting how you said that. Yeah, people, what customs, do I walk to the party? Do I take off my shoes or not?
Right.
It's really true. Here comes this dog saying, "What's up to you?" Do I pet the dog? Do I not pet the dog? What do you want me to do? There's so many little kind of things. Again, it really comes down to you got to throw a good party. You got to think about those things. And I think we've done a really good job about it. Here's some interesting information. Client retention, keeping somebody in your facility is way, I don't want to use the word easier, but it's far less effort than it is getting a new person to come in. And what I mean by that is once they're there, the conversation it should just be natural. It should be a natural process. Now, natural doesn't have to be like, organic natural. Like you could plant the seed and wait for the growth to happen. It's like, please plant your seeds before time and let the natural growth happen. Versus like, they'll just like me. They'll just appreciate, people don't appreciate the things that you appreciate as a coach or as a trainer. You have to plant those seeds and let them naturally grow. That's what I'm kind of saying. Like, how do you get to know somebody? How do you get to get a conversation started in a workout? How do you get people to join as a community? Like all these different things that I think we've done a great job on. We've planted those seeds. And a few things that happened almost I didn't want them to happen. Like the question of the day. I didn't resist it, but it kind of happened organically as a coaching staff. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, there was times where I was doing question of the day every single day, and that was my biggest struggle, was figuring out a question of the day. You get a few weeks in going,
what are the questions?
Oh, jeez. we got ourselves too deep.
Yeah. I mean, like, how do you get a conversation? How do you make people relaxed in the most quiet time of the workout? It's just the warm-up. I know there's a lot of different ways to do a warm-up. Some people say our warm-ups are not relaxable at all. We're cranking, we're moving.
It's complex. There's a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
But if you're not used to moving in 3D space, you're going to learn today,
right. Yeah. Have a conversation about what you think about a particular book while doing a transverse plane lunge. Yeah.
Probably not going to happen. Well, it's also as on the coach, right? You're reading the room and going.
Totally. Yeah.
I've definitely had opportunities or times where I've had a question that's way too complex and a soulful question that I've thought about since the night before, and I come in with a ready answer, and somebody's woken up at 5:55 for a 6 a.m. class, and there they are going, "What was the question?" No, pass. Yes. It's like, okay, I get it. That was too much for the warm up, especially at 6 a.m. You got to know your people.
It's very, very true. It's very, very true. But I've always liked that, especially like the question that goes around, and you can make such a good question. It almost is it's the same problem. There's too much chatter. You're not doing anything. No one's paying attention to the movements. They're still chatting. You're like, all right, I'm about to describe the workout now, and people are still, anyways, sharing stories. So that's been something that's very, very interesting. Getting conversation to go, but also to limit it so you can stop it when you want it to stop.
Well, let me ask you this: what's some of the questions? I've got a few on my mind, but what's an example of a question of the day for those people who are like, okay, question of the day. Well, then where do I? Like, what's like a simple version of that, and maybe what's something a little bit more fun, and then like inviting to really get to know somebody, or to give them the floor for a one-word answer, or potentially a 2-minute monologue.
I know, which happens.
Or a 10-minute monologue.
10-minute long.
You got to switch it
up. So when it's the Monday, how's your weekend? Right, super open-ended, super simple. Friday, what's going on for the weekend?
So you got 2 days of questions every week that you can ask, and it's always going to be a good response.
Always going to be a response. Yeah, so super simple. So you got 3 days you got to worry about. Some good ones that have come up is like you compare. So what's better, this ice cream flavor or this hamburger? Like, you can do two different things, and like, what? Those are like apples and oranges. Like, no, you got to choose.
Oh, and listen, like, we're fitness, but we still love to eat a hamburger and some ice cream.
We talk about food so much because it's real. Like, to us, yeah, nutrition's a big deal, but so is enjoying food.
Yeah,
right.
Gotta enjoy it.
Gotta enjoy it. Okay, so those are one of mine. Or I like to bring up like this day in history, but make it recent history. Like, what were you doing then? And I do not go like September 11th. It's like something fun.
Yeah.
Or today's National Balloon Day. And then bring up some sort of
What's the craziest balloon you ever received for a birthday?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
If you receive a balloon today, what color would you want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you
it's
go.
like what's your favorite color question, but
keep on
it's a
going.
balloon.
Keep on going.
Peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and banana? Like peanut butter and honey. No jelly, just peanut butter. That's my wife. Just peanut butter. I'm like, oh, peanut butter and jelly. Crunchy peanut butter or smooth peanut butter. Yeah. That's gonna tell you a lot about somebody's personality.
No joke. These are like first date questions. Yeah, these are like first date questions, Right. You're not going to say, how's your relationship with your dad? You're not going to go there.
Yeah.
But.
Exactly. Cool podcasts you're listening to, things on Netflix. I mean, think real people, human life things that we do that I think it's like, oh, I'm in a gym. I'm not allowed to talk about not working out, and I'm not allowed to talk about not eating healthy. It's like we are all still human. We all still enjoy the things of life. We make mistakes. We do great things. It's like having a space where it feels safe, and there is that community aspect of like, okay, you might have those 2 or 3 people that you never know what they're going to come up with. But you ask a simple question, and it turns into something for the rest of the week. Yep. It's fun. It builds a larger community because it's people know each other, different time of classes, different types of classes, and I think some people like to get a rise out of other people, and some people like to just say, hey, here's my answer, and that's all I'm going to give today.
Mm-hmm. The key thing is community, right? You want to build retention on a sports team, on any sort of environment, right? A business team, you got to like the people that you're working with. You might not have to like them, but you got to at least respect them. And I think that's a big thing about when you're running a gym fitness facility, especially a group fitness facility, is that you cannot control who shows up to that session for the most part. For the most part, you have to understand who comes into that session. You have to be a good coach. I bring this up often. I really bring this up, maybe too often, but when you had the Chicago Bulls, you had Pippen, you had Jordan, and you had Rodman. Like, how do you manage those 3 guys? All severely high achievers, have their own personalities. How do you keep Jordan winning? How do you keep Pippen as number 2? And how do you let Rodman blow up? For all the people who do not know who I'm talking about, I apologize. I know it was my heyday in basketball watching, but like, how do you make that happen? How do you make a group of a bunch of like maybe high-level CEOs, or encouragers, or a bunch of people who don't want to talk at all? And how do you manage that?
I mean, the number one thing we need to assume is that people want to feel good.
Yep.
People want to feel good, and everybody feels good for different reasons. And some people like the fame or the spotlight. Some people just want to feel like they're getting their work done, like they're checking stuff off the list. Other people, I'm talking about fitness. Some people strictly just want to socialize. They want to be there because they showed up, and it's just, that is the energy. So you've got rock star performers that just want to crush it and feel good that way, feel like they got a sweat and like they almost died. You got somebody who's like, okay, I just need to get my 1 hour in today because that's the only thing that's keeping me sane. And you got somebody else who's just talking. Those people are all paying clients. And if you're only serving one of those sections or one of those types of individuals or groups, you're going to neglect the other two, and they're not going to feel welcome. Mm-hmm. Eventually they will trickle away. And yes, you might be growing now this group of CEO level, high level type A's. But is that what you want, or do you want to serve more people? And I think that's a question we all need to consider, because I think it depends on who the coach is, what you're coaching, and where you're coaching, and what you're trying to do with that level of coaching. Are you continuing to try to expand it and reach more people, or are you trying to just reach out to this specific demographic? And I think where we get stuck, at least in fitness, is we just want to serve one type of person. But as a coach, our heart says we want to serve everybody. Mm-hmm. We want to help everybody. And the only way to do that is to get to know your people, to let them know that you are there for them, like you're in service to these individuals who are paying for a workout. And yeah, you're not their servant, but you're there to help them, whether it's level up, whether it's to sustain their ability, whether it's just to come out of a negative slump energetically, and they want to just be like, okay, I got my sweat equity. I know I'm going to sleep well tonight. Because you can go the other way and get stuck in a hole, literally a hole of not doing anything. Yeah. Because you don't have your people, you don't have your community, and there's no accountability. Mm-hmm. And with none of those, it's easy to just fall into a routine of not doing it at all.
Yeah. And we know it as 4 different personality types, and each one of us are dominant in one of them. We're all of them, but dominant in one of them, and we will definitely serve that one type very well, because it's our type. And that's only about 25% of the people. So how do you serve the other 75%? You have to be a coach and change the way you communicate and talk and interact, but still be you. It's really a dynamic play. I mean, it's not easy, but there's a system behind it, though.
Have you ever gone to a place that you like thoroughly enjoyed the instructor and like they were speaking to you, and in another place that you've been like, they don't know who the hell I am, obviously?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, what's the difference in experience there as an actual client of that place, or you're just doing a drop-in somewhere?
These are all drop-ins. Yeah, these two is like, one is like, both people have never coached me before, and it's the genuineness, it's the authenticity, and instead of being, it's like the A+ experience was I was never told. It was suggestions, or hey, I'm noticing this. What do you think about that? I always did what they said, but it was really just this come across as like I know what I want to do with you, but me being a coach, I could kind of read between their lines a little bit. It's like, oh, I see where he's going with this, and it made me feel special. Versus the other one is like, your knee's going in, make it go out. I was like, but I have a why on why my knee's going in. And the second time they did it, it's like I said, I'm doing this on purpose. They're like, why? I'm like, oh, well,
That's actually a good question.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked.
Not, you're wrong, get out of here.
Yeah. So then I told them the answer, and it was like, but it was I had to stop the workout. It was kind of one of these, one was canned, like this is the experience, fit in, which is fine. It was a franchise model. And the other one was not, and it was, here's an experience. How can I curate it for you? And that was a really interesting, because I kind of saw at that time when I first went to the can, when I kind of I saw the full spectrum. No one said hi. He was there. The music turned on. Coach walked in out of the back and immediately started talking. No greeting, nothing like that. Like, we're here to go. And I'm on a time limit, so let's move. First, the other one was like, oh, hey, welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. Sweet. You know what? We're a minute behind schedule, but we got 2 more people coming in. Let me just chat with you a little bit more. Like, they were going to ebb and flow the process. And I don't know. I dug the first one. I dug the experience, not the outcome. I almost call it the outcome versus an experience, but forced versus guided.
Yeah, I mean, you walk into a place here's the difference. You've got somebody who's like, hey, I got another class in an hour, so we got to get going, you guys. Let's get started. Another place goes, shit, I'm like 2 minutes over start time. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get after it. This one was going to be a little bit faster today. We're going to get after it, crush it, and get started here in 15 minutes for the workout. So just need you guys to get after it with your lunges, your reaches, whatever else. Like your energy is different. Are you in there as a transaction, or are you in there to build some kind of community, right? You're just not a transactional, you're a relational coach.
Right. I think that's a module in the MDMC course.
I think so. I think that's where I got it from.
No selfish plug on that one, but definitely selfish plug.
It had to come from somewhere. No, I think that's super important though, because as a coach, it's easy to get lost in the day to day. And I got this. I got to do. Then I got to do this. Then I got to do this. Like we get as in fitness and in health, we're doing usually way more than just coaching a class. There's programming involved. We got to make calls. We've got to
set it up, tear it down.
Right. Open the facility, close the facility, greet people, get to know people, understand different dysfunctions that are going on. Like it's not just show up to a class and coach, but you can come in at that mindset and you're going to burn out as a coach and your members aren't going to stick around. And so, I mean, going into hiring coaches, what we're looking at is, can you bring out a personality? And under stress, can you maintain your composure? And can you ebb and flow with it? Can you realize that it's not always going to be perfectly smooth? You're not always going to be perfect on time, and not every single person you're going to absolutely love and adore for the rest of your life that you want to take out on a dinner date. But we're all human, and we have a community, and we have people that we do care about, and those are the people that show up, and especially the ones that show up again and again and again, because what happens as a coach is now we're able to, if it's dripping education, see somebody get better, whether it's going from movement availability that's limited to expanding it over 3 or 4 years, seeing somebody grow, and then, I mean, looking back at people I started coaching 5 or 6 years ago that I still see here today, I'm going, oh my gosh. Because of our client retention, I'm able to see your growth and able to feel inspired and now share your story as a long-term study for other people who are going through something maybe similar, but just have a different storyline.
Yeah,
I think that we need to adopt that relational model. Though it is more effort, it's more inspiring, there's more compassion involved, and there's more understanding, I think, in what we're all doing here. We're all helping each other out. Why are we a coach? Is it just because we want to deliver a workout? No, I think in our heart it's because we want to take care of people and we want to do the best we can. And I think every coach does have that mindset. We just have trouble applying that mindset depending on the environment that we're in. If we're in a shitty environment, a really dirty environment, stuff just isn't organized. We're going to be in stress mode trying to clear the clutter of our brain to make it go smooth. But you set that environment up, you've got a welcoming atmosphere, you start to get to know people's names. Now you are hosting an awesome party where people are paying to sweat and to inspire themselves and to really be passionate about what they're doing through movement. Yeah,
it's again, it comes back to how do you make someone come back day after day and do something hard that they inherently do not want to do. The body resists effort. It resists it. I mean, we may have be accustomed to it. But again, you said it perfectly. You know, how do you set up the environment to make that happen? Because there's so many things that go into it. I want to bring this up. Did a little bit of research before this. You know, there's 5 major reasons why people do not return back to a facility. They're not making progress. 1, they don't feel that they belong, and I kind of want to talk to each one of these. They don't belong. They don't feel that they fit in. They have limited class offerings. They don't feel appreciated. And those are a little bit different than belonging. I think one's from the community, one's from the coach. And then payments are a hassle. That's what a Google search said.
I mean, that makes sense.
Right? I mean,
I don't think there's really much to add on to that.
Fair enough. So how do we track progress? This is a challenging one.
Let's talk about the traditional model, I think, in fitness, and then talk about how we've adapted that.
Cool.
Is that a good way to go?
I think so. Yeah.
Traditional model is progressive overload, or you maybe do like a 6 or 10 week jump start. And I think a lot of people take advantage of those 6 to 10 weeks. They got what they're looking for, and they head out, do the next thing. But they go through this loop of gains. I feel great. All right, time off. Shit, I'm back to where I was before. Do this again, 6 to 10 weeks. Maybe now this time there's an injury or a pain, and then you take a longer time off, and then you come back. So I think there's a lot of this recurring cycle when we get so caught up in the numbers and the lack of variety that
I think the key thing is the lack of variety.
And I wanted to speak to that too, because
Yeah.
that can be blown out of different directions of just do a bunch of random stuff. It's like, well, we got to program variety intentionally,
Right.
where it looks like it's a lot of random variety, but it's really intentional. So if you're sticking to that traditional model of progressive overload, and let's say you're working on like seasons of like your off season, your preseason, your season, and then kind of recovery, if you will. You go this route, I think it works well for athletes because they're used to it in sports because you've got a season. But once you're not playing sports, what is your season? Is it summer? Is it winter? Are you like, is it snowboarding, skiing? Is it running on mountains and trail running? Is it surfing? Whatever it may be, right? You've got your sport. But I think once we kind of get beyond that high school sports, college sports kind of realm, or even just rec sports and stuff, and you've got now just your life ahead of you. Even if you've never played sports, then now you get the whole season of life. It's a whole year.
It's constant.
What goes into, like, how do you see gains? How do you see growth? I don't think we've been taught these things. It's definitely not in elementary school in PE, definitely not in high school. You just learn fitness, and you need to be able to hit the quota of push-ups and pull-ups and
Rate.
running.
Yeah. Rate, load, and reps.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the three things
So
that
yeah,
you measure.
rate, duration, and load, right? How
Yeah.
fast, how slow you going,
Yep. How heavy, how light, and how many.
and how long,
Yeah.
right? So for endurance, I think that's
That's the
Get
three
stuck.
things. If that's all you're measuring, man, you're
going to hit a peak. You're going to hit a peak. And
Right.
you're going to have those maybe a dozen exercises that you know to do when you don't have a coach. You're going to go do those. And you're going to do them half-assed. Or you're going to go way too hard out the gate and then be like, oh, I got in like 5 days off. And then you might go a little bit lighter and like, this just isn't for me. You've got nothing to gauge yourself on. And so I think if we get stuck in that traditional model and we are just looking at rate, duration, and load, and we're looking at just progressive overload and making those metric gains, we're not seeing how fitness and health is our life. We're making it like a part of our life, but not making it our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so it seems separate, and now it's a chore, and we got to go out there and do it. Versus saying, what do I want? What do I do in life, and what do I enjoy in life? For many people, that's a tough question to answer. Like, I don't know. If you have any kind of hurts, dysfunctions, pains, injuries, the things that you once enjoyed, you no longer enjoy because of that pain. Or maybe you're forcing yourself to do it, and you're just like, one of these days is going to be the last straw on the camel's back, but I'll at least be doing it until the day I break and die, whatever. But we don't have to go that way. It might go that way if we're looking for like progressive overload. But if we sit back and go, looking at our positions, our actions, our environments that we're in everyday life, this becomes more qualitative. Where are we? Where are we when we enjoy ourselves? Is it outdoors on a mountain? Is it at the beach in the sand? Is it walking up and down hills, stairs, exploring, traveling? All of these things involve movement.
Yeah. Results are way heavily measured outside of a facility. I mean, someone's getting super stoked that they did a PR. No question.
Hell yeah.
I deadlifted.
Love a good old-fashioned PR.
Nothing like, you were at, let's just call it simple. You deadlifted 100 pounds, and now you're at 150 pounds. You're amped. But that's a short-lived PR because you only live 1 hour in that facility per day, and that's a lot. That's a lot of time. You spend the other 23 hours of your life outside of those doors. That's where the PR is. You feel better. You move better. You actually are doing something better.
Or doing something that you were not doing because it hurt or because you were too weak to do
better.
it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not training, so honestly, duration, load, and rate aren't those. We call that 30% of the pie. There's 7 more things that we on our non-traditional scale measure, and you alluded to them already. But position, height, range of motion, right? What thing's moving the thing?
What's driving you? Yeah.
Yeah. What environment are you in? And can you change that action all over again in the same position, same weight, I mean, so like there's I'm breezing over them, but there's so many more things I don't want to call it a subjective, but even that's even more powerful. How you feel, how you get up out of the morning, how to get out of bed in the morning? How does that feel? You know, how do you run across the street because a car was coming fast?
I think to
Like those little
visualize this
things.
too, and I've said this in multiple podcasts, and I want to say it again because I think it's important. But imagine you're in a bubble when you wake up.
Yeah.
How big is that bubble? How colorful is that bubble? How vibrant is that bubble? And is that bubble, does it feel freeing, liberating? Or does this bubble feel like it's compressed? Your neck is stuck a certain way. I can't turn to the right side of my sphere, but I can turn to the left. My ankle's kind of funky, so this part of my sphere is a little bit more scratchy and pixelated. But imagine that you wake up in the morning and you just feel like you can look up, look down, look left, look right. You can reach behind you. You just have access to everywhere that your body could potentially be. Versus waking up with restriction, so much so that you avoid accessing parts of your sphere or turning certain ways because you know it's going to hurt you. That takes up some heavy mental real estate to avoid things, because now subconsciously your body, anytime you sense going in a direction that you don't want to go because it's painful, your body will hold the brakes. It's like if you're in your car and you want to turn right, but the axle doesn't allow you to turn right. And so as soon as you go to turn right, the axle just locks up and your e-brake gets pulled and you're like, oh, just gotta keep, and then you get right and okay, now I'm straight again, thank God. But how much damage does that feel like it's doing, and how much effort was that? Like your power steering went out when you're taking that turn and the e-brake was on. Good luck. You're going to stop turning right. You're going to do everything you can to turn left, and then all of a sudden you're going to wear down the tires on your left side.
Yeah.
It's like we got to step back and say, let's look at the quality of your movement and the quality of your sphere, and let's understand this. It's not going to take a day. It's not going to take a week. It's going to take your whole life to really understand that, because you're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to be in pain. You're going to be in no pain at all and feel like God. You're like, I can do anything today. We just need to recognize those ebbs and flows, and I think it does come down to our observational essentials that we go into in the MDMC course, which is environment. It is your position. It is your action. It is your driver. Then how high are you going to do it? How low are you going to do it? Which direction are you going to do it? And how far in that direction? Now that we have that established, now let's go ahead and push the metrics of whatever we've established.
Yep.
That's relative to the individual. So I think the progression, how do people measure their gains? It is energetically. It is when they go out in everyday life. Do they come back the next day and go, like, guess what I did yesterday getting out of the car? I stepped my left foot all the way out. I didn't even use the oh shit bar to pull myself out. I just stepped out. And like, that's a win. That's the biggest gain I can get from you. Compared to, I bumped up 50 pounds on my deadlift. That is still a powerful gain. Like, let's not underwrite that. It's great to have a good weighted PR, fast PR, and just like, okay, I'm making some progress. But if it doesn't apply to something in real life, you're just getting better at the gym. I think that at some point in your life, you're going to reflect back and go, man, if I would have just done this differently and had a different mindset. That's a tough thing to change, but I think it comes through education that we share as coaches, is that it's not just about the load. Now, if it is for you as a coach, that might be what you're sharing.
And that's people that you're attracting, that's a community that you're making, and you're going to retain those clients.
100%.
But you are going to kick out the other ones. Literally.
They're going to find what they're looking for.
Not literally, but metaphorically, you will kick them out. They don't want to be there. So, the intention, that was a great dive. It was a great dive into only one of the five.
Yeah. But I think that is one of the most important, because in fitness, we are looking at all these numbers and metrics, when life is not all these numbers and metrics. It's feeling, it's expression, it's experience, and it's exploration. It's putting yourself out there and doing things that you want to do.
Yeah, not feeling stuck, not feeling rigid, not feeling like you can't do something. This morning, I had to climb up onto essentially a monkey bar. Right, so think about the old school playground, the monkey bars. Get up on top of it, not from the side, but from this. Oh, sorry, not from the front, but from the side. I was like, man, I haven't done that in a while. I was a little slower than what I did, and I even brought a box over. And like, let me just get a box early in the morning.
Smart.
But our monkey bars are 8 feet off the ground, and it's amazing. If you stop doing that, you stop. Like you said, your body doesn't want to turn to the right. Now that's a high level, drill, right? To be able to just go up and do it.
Right.
But you lose movement so much faster than you think you do. And then you go to try it and you're like, I don't feel confident. And you've just now lost a step. Is that just,
Something to reflect on.
I'm in my
definitely.
mid-30s. Dude, am I going to lose that step, or am I going to realize it and go back and try it again? Not just to go try, but train for it, right? All these different
That's a huge progression to be able to recognize that in yourself too.
Right, just that awareness, because people don't even know it. And then they go try it. Oh, let me go throw on the single ski. It's summertime. You haven't single skied in 40 years.
Oh, this will be fun to watch.
All right, don't belong. What do we do to make people feel like they belong? Not just they feel it, that they do belong.
I want to share a story because when I came into Gymnazo, what sold it for me was I felt like I belonged when I was in the internship. And it was because the coaches, I was signed up for a workout with Matt, another one of the interns at the time, another one of our previous coaches. And as we're getting ready for the workout, you pop in. You weren't coaching the workout. You just popped in and pulled us over the corner because you noticed us doing some kind of movement, like a lunge, and like a forward lunge, but you wanted to talk about the forward lunge for like 3 hours. And we did it with you. And I learned so much, but I felt like I belonged. Maybe this is more along the appreciated, but I think it was belonged. It was like, I don't even have words really for it. I just felt like you had a gravitational pull that said, come over here, let's chat. And though we don't necessarily do that with our clients and say, hey, let's go talk for 3 hours, I think some of them would absolutely love that, probably go for days.
Yep.
But what we do is we'll notice somebody moving a certain way or maybe performing a throw or a swing or whatever motion it is, the way that they've always done it. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we get so much information as a coach seeing the way somebody moves. And I think the best way to pull somebody in and make them feel like they belong is to have a conversation with them about what they're doing and not attack them, but simply ask questions. And it could be as simple as, hey, do you mean to do that with your foot? I think you turn it in a little bit. Hey, do you mean to do that with your arms going up overhead like that? Because it should be down at chest or from your hip, and this is what it looks like. And it's that if you sign up for a one-on-one, you get that, but you get that attention already.
Right.
But you're signing up for a group class, it's really easy to never have a conversation with the coach.
Right.
If the coach never makes their way over to you and engages in conversation or gives you some kind of encouragement.
Right. They're always coaching globally, as we like to say.
And it's like more transactional than relational. But even with global encouragement, you can make it more relational depending on
That's true.
how you share.
Yep.
And the energy you're bringing and whatever else. But I think to make somebody feel like they belong is, one, see them moving as they are. Just they come in and this is how they're moving. And it's like that, hey, move your knee out, don't let it go in. Versus asking, hey, what, do you know your knee's going in? How does it feel if it goes out? Is it feeling different? Does it feel better? Perfect. Cool. I just want to make sure you feel good. I belong here. I feel like, okay, I'm in a place where the coach is doing their job and I am doing my job and we are interacting as a coach and an athlete. I feel like I belong. When you're on a team as an athlete and the coach reaches out to you, you're like, I'm an athlete on this team. The coach never talks to you. You're not an athlete on the team.
Right. You're just
you're just there.
Yep, just there.
You're an athlete.
Yep.
But you may not be part of that team. I'm interested in what your thoughts are on that, because you've developed this as a coach and as a coach of coaches. You do a great job of making coaches feel like they belong because you answer questions and you ask questions that are engaging and thoughtful, and even intentional. What kind of things do you intentionally do or process to maybe make somebody feel like they belong? And you may not actually think about it that way. You just do it because you're a good person and a great coach. But is there anything intentionally you do? Yeah,
the biggest intention thing that we do, and we do it as a coaching staff, and we do it, like I saw you do it last Tuesday in our last meeting, but we also do it towards our athletes. And I wrote this down here. I'm going to see if I can say this right. If you say you're doing it wrong, you're going to make them feel like they don't belong. Did that come out all right? If you say you're doing it wrong, you're going to make them feel like they don't belong. We do not say you're doing it wrong. I don't think I've said that phrase more than a handful of times. Seriously, handful. I'm not perfect. In a decade, in 10 years, I maybe said it 5 times. And every time I've said it, I've remembered it and say, shit, don't say that again. We do not say you're doing it wrong. You're going to make someone really feel not welcome. Gosh, you know what? guess I'm not cut out for this stuff. They're not doing it wrong. They're moving. There's a different way to move. And you said it too. It's like, what's your intention about it? I like how you're taking that step open a little bit. How about use the other foot? There's been people doing the wrong drill with the wrong piece of equipment.
Oh man, it happens all too often.
I'll walk up to them and say, I like what you got going here. let me see a few more. Yep, I like that. As I'm saying I like that, I'm grabbing the right tool. Sweet, try this tool now. So, love it. Keep on rocking. Cool, I'm just going to go put this one back. Love that one. Go.
What a fun interaction. You gotta feel for it too. I think that is so. There's power in suggestion, and there's power in intention, and you can see when somebody's lacking intention, and they just don't have another suggestion internally. That's just how they do it.
Right.
I think that's your job as a coach. Suggest, provide opportunities.
You are a guide. You are not the coach is not the hero. The athlete is the hero. We're the guide. That's really important, even as coaching coaches. Especially going into multidimensional movement coach, people look at us like, wow, you guys have accomplished a lot. And it's really hard to keep the ego suppressed. It really, it's the ego wants it. It wants it bad. And you guys say, no, this is something that we've done. We're sharing it. There's different ways to do it. We've cut through a lot of the crap. And we'd like you to do it too, but I'm still your guide. You're the hero.
Yeah, I can't do this stuff for you. Like for the athlete, right?
No, and it's the same way we think about any coach is the way you coach one person is the way you coach every person. Take that with a grain of salt, right? But you are not the person who gets the fame. You're not. And the moment you try to do that, I don't know. I think you're going to be stepping backwards. So that's kind of I think if I've done one thing unintentionally, but realizing it should be intentional, is that I never want my name to be on the building, on the shirt. I can care less, and I think that's really important. I think it's it's not CJ's workout. Right. You wrote it. You get all the. People eventually, but it's your workout, athlete. I made the food, but you ate it. Like you should have the enjoyment of eating it.
You want to add some reps. You want to take some reps away. You want to go a little bit heavier. Maybe you want to change the equipment. That's the ultimate mission, is to provide you with so many options that doesn't overwhelm you.
Correct.
But does set you up for an always attract to more success always.
Yeah.
There's more opportunities to learn. Success is not just going faster, harder, and longer.
It's a great principle.
It's simply being able to expand your potential and feel more connected.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love this stuff. Bad or limiting class offerings. Hard thing about a coach, you are not working the 9 to 5 bankers' jobs. The bankers got the best hours. 9 to 5. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Just bankers. Yeah, they got all the holidays.
Consistent.
We're working before work. We're working during lunch. We're working after work. Our times off are the hard parts of work. 2 to 4. 9 to 11. That's when everyone's working, and that's when we're not working. You have to be open. You have to be able to sacrifice your lifestyle. I really believe that. I think coaches of the NCAA and professional, especially the NCAA, they're professional coaches, but some people that's their life.
Yeah.
And I
Eat,
do
breathe,
not
sleep, travel.
I do not believe that, especially as a trainer of movement. If that's your life, then you should try for more. You should try for more. Anyways. So you got to wake up in the early morning. You got to be able to eat lunch on times, and you have to be offered. I think the most important thing is we offer 100 different class times per week. Now there's a team of 7 of us, so it's very important. But I remember when Gymnazo started, I got a flyer. First time was 5:30 a.m. Next class time was 9:45. Third class time was noon. That was Gymnazo's initial. Well, it wasn't even Gymnazo then, but that was the initial offering. And it was a lot of work to get those 3 class times. But you got to fit into it's not what you want to do. It's what your athletes want to do. And you got to remember that different demographics want different times. If you want to go over to the baby boomers, they're not going to show up at 5:30 a.m.
Right.
They're sleeping. They're not going to show up at lunch. They're going to show up at the 9:45s, the 11s, the 3 p.m. We had a 3 p.m. one. That's our first like G1. It was at 3 p.m. It crushed it. So it's very, very interesting about a class offering that's robust or at least fits your starting demographic. I think that's really important.
Oh, and especially starting out, I think too, it's tough because if you're a starting group coach and you're just now initiating these group classes, it's going to be some oblong times, and
of course, yeah.
You're going to want to fill in the schedule first just to build some excitement and some interest into what you're coaching. But then once these individuals start talking about what they're doing, if it's fun, it's clean, it's got some variety, there's a cool community, they're learning stuff, they're doing weird stuff that they didn't know they could do, and now it's applying to real life. I think that's where you get the most amount of people because people want to be able to function better and sustain their movement through a life. And I think we're going into this track in the next 5-10 years, hopefully much sooner, that fitness is about being sustainable. Mm-hmm. It's not just about being fit and looking good. It's creating a model for yourself and a routine for yourself that fits your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And if it is then, as a coach, having different level classes. If you're only coaching one type of class, you're going to limit yourself to only the amount of people you can fill into that class, and maybe you go more the workshop route because you want to teach a specific thing. That can be different too. That's more traveling and more class offerings. But in terms of fitness and group training model, you got to have something for different levels of people. You got to have at least 2 levels, something that's a little bit easier, something that's a little bit tougher, like an intro, especially if it's like a complexity thing. Introduce your style of training, whether it's a flow, some kind of mace or kettlebell or rope, whatever, or if it's just a bunch of equipment, circuit style. Mm-hmm. You've got an easier level that's low impact and a tougher level that's a little bit higher impact. And then, for our ecosystem, then we've also got one-on-ones. We've got semi-privates that's more focused on what the individual's looking for versus a group of individuals.
Right. I think it's big. It's a simple one, but you got to expand it out.
Ask your people what they want. Ask them what they want and see what they're interested in. Yeah, build it for them.
Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing. Every year we do a member survey, and we get a great response. Over 50% of our members answer, and we let them know you can make policy happen in this facility. Just let us know. And so just asking. I think we do that often. What should we do in our big management meetings? What do we do? Let's just ask the clients.
Yeah.
There you go.
Especially when you've got a good sample size to work with.
Exactly. And if you don't, even easier to collect.
Yeah.
Because all I care about is that 25 people. Good.
And be stoked about what you're offering. Don't be like, you're offering this class. It's like, no. Yeah. You enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
I like that. Members don't feel appreciated. I wrote down a laundry list on things that we do.
I want to hear your list, honestly, because I could talk, but I enjoy hearing you talk about how we appreciate.
Well, appreciation is more than likely an untangible, right? It's something that's very soft. It should be flown way underneath the radar, personalized, not blown up, but sometimes it needs to be, like a party. I really mean that, not just from the figurative speech. We do member socials and have done member socials since day one. And we've learned a lot about those member socials because there's a nice, we'll call it a spectrum of fun. When you get too much spectrum, you get a degradation in the community because you start to ostracize certain people who don't want to have that much fun.
No, everyone wants to have that much fun. Come on.
There is a limit to the amount of fun that you should have as a professional organization. But we certainly had member socials from the beginning. Pool parties is one of the first things, and that got too much fun. Going downtown to the bars with our members, that got too much fun. Then it turned into Friendsgiving. I remember our first Thanksgiving. We had it in the facility. People were like, you're going to your gym to have Thanksgiving dinner? And I'll remember, like, yeah, like, it's not that kind of place. So that was also something that we do a lot. And that's a lot of work. We have our holiday party, which is really just our anniversary party that's during the holidays. And that's a formal. That's like a black tie, not truly black tie, but fitness black tie event, and a lot of planning. Those are all member appreciation stuff. And it's not like we're not trying to fundraise. There's no intention behind it besides having a good time and saying thank you to the members. We have beer socials. Yes, we drink beer and talk about beer a lot. Does that contradict fitness and nutrition? No, it does not.
My soul is always fed.
It goes hand in hand with it. We are not a physique bodybuilding place. So let's be clear. That's the first Friday of every month, which is the first Friday of every month is coming up just around the corner. We did movie nights during COVID, outdoor movie nights, projected on a massive wall.
B-F-N-A, man.
You know, we always look for opportunities to do all kinds of stuff. We do a golf tournament. We do Spartan races. I mean, CJ, talk about a guy who goes out of his way. The dude would go to, we have massive sand dunes here just locally. Pick up a bucket, bring a heavy
Go
tool.
carry your kettlebell out. We're going to walk them out to the dunes and do a cold dip. See you at 7 a.m. On a Sunday.
Yeah. It's always doing something that brings in appreciation. Not only that, but we do shirts. We do the 500 Club, 1,000 Club, 1,500 Club, 2,000 Club, 2,500 Club, and now our 3,000 Club. That means a member who's joined that many sessions.
That's ultimate, man. That's so wild.
And it's a free shirt. I mean, it's not free, right? But it's a free shirt.
It's the most expensive shirt you ever bought.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the things like that. We do a lot of raffles. This is really important. But those are the tangible things. The untangible things, we send flowers. We send flowers to a lot of members who have gone through tough times from Gymnazo. We write cards a lot of cards. We learn something about it. Someone's real life. Our members our athletes are real people. They go through shit in their lives. Wouldn't it be nice, I hate to say this because I like to keep it secret, but wouldn't it be nice to receive a We're Thinking About You card signed by all your coaches who you see more often than your own family members, extended family members? You know, just all those little things like that, they add up. It's appreciation.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those slow building things that then you look back at the years and like, wow, I've built a really outstanding relationship with these people.
Yeah.
It's amazing how clients can shape your life too. And like I've had clients share stories with me of just success of things, and like they share the appreciation back. And as a coach, we need to learn to accept that too. Like take in and be grateful for what you're able to provide to other people. So appreciate yourself too as a coach. Like realize that, but realize who you need to appreciate so that you can be appreciated.
Right. We get a lot of gifts from members, and that's an appreciation back. And sometimes that I don't feel as balanced. I feel we get more gifts than we give, but we give gifts as a community, as an environment, and I have to remember that, you know, and to always be thankful. You know, I got some pretty cool gifts.
Yeah, my heart feels good. Just appreciating who we get to coach.
Yeah, definitely. Payments are not a hassle. That's I do want to give some business advice here in a sense. Payments need to be not a hassle. When I deal with a business, this is just my personal preference here. So that charges me more to use a credit card. That leaves a negative sensation in my stomach. Doesn't mean I won't do business with them, but it's a negative. And I understand as a business, every time that someone uses a credit card here, we get fined for that. The business gets fined for accepting payments. It's called the COG, the cost of doing business. And to me, that is something that if you're going to offer a 5-star service, which we say we're trying to offer 5-star service all the time, that is a cost of business that you should absorb to make it happen because it makes it hassle-free. Now, I think there's a lot of things you need to do to really make payment be something that is just, it's not even thought about. It's not even an expectation. It's just like, of course, absolutely. And you have to call someone asking for money. It's not a good feeling. I was part of a fraternity in high school and college, and I was the finance guy. And I ran an organization, that's how I think of it, of 63 men. At least we thought we were men then. And I was the finance guy. I was the guy calling people. We didn't have text back then, or barely. I didn't have the text phone. And I had to call people, and it just was miserable. It was miserable. Like I wish we had Swipe. That'd be so awesome. Or Stripe, whatever the case is. Just make it easy. So payments have to be hassle-free, and you have to be able to always back up and feel very confident and proud about what you're charging. Can't be too little, too. It's very interesting. That's why Lamborghinis are so expensive. They're not that expensive to make, but people want to feel. I don't know. There's so many different subjective things that go into payments, but it's gotta be easy. It's got to be easy. So, you want to speak on any of that?
I mean, everything's energy, and right now we use money as energy, or energy.
Yeah.
We use money to share that. And I think if somebody's passionate about wanting to train in a facility, they're willing to spend the money. And if you have a community, you've got accountability, you've got variety, you've got education in there, you've got a relationship building. Again, community. Right? People want to be there and show up. People are going to be willing to spend more money on somewhere that cares about them as much as they care about their health. And I think we need to just be mindful of that as a coach. Don't underwrite yourself, but also don't put yourself over the top where nobody can reach out to you.
Right. Yeah, there has to be that sweet understanding that there's a relationship being built. Like, it's really, but like, I'll go back to the furniture thing. I paid for my friends, quote unquote, as people would say it. No, I didn't. I paid for an environment of like-minded people that wanted to enjoy life together. That's what I think a true fitness facility should be like. Anyways, I love it. Our retention rate, real quick, is our churn rate is 3%. That means we churn through 3% of members every month. A very all-star awesome number is 10%. We didn't even know that we were doing a 3% until we started paying attention to it. So it's really important that you replace as few athletes on your team per month as possible. Because every time you bring in a new athlete, the team has to work that much harder to get better. That's how we look at it. We have a pool of athletes. You don't hire CJ, you don't hire Michael, you hire the team of Gymnazo coaches. And we want to take these athletes through a lifelong season of movement progression so they can be better outside of the facility walls, not only good inside the walls. And so keep your athletes a long time. They're going to get better and better and better, and they're going to talk about you as a coach being an awesome guide, and they're the hero.
Throw an awesome party, man.
That's it.
Throw an awesome party.
Yeah.
Have a good time. Know your people.
I love it. Wrapping it up?
Wrapping it up, man.
Cool. Thank you very much. Co-hosting. And we'll see you all next time.
Enjoy.